Hi everyone, I'm Sarah back with the West Lincoln Public Library for another monthly book review. And today I have one that I am really excited to talk about. It has been in my to-be read, as in I checked it out a while ago and was just so caught up with so many things, I was finally excited to actually be able to sit down and read it, and let me tell you, it did not disappoint. A fun little small tidbit about me. I love Gaelic mythology, so Scottish folklore, all those sort of things, and one of my favorite legends is the tale of the Selkie wife. And for anyone that doesn't know, a Selkie is a person that can appear human and turn into a seal at will so long as they possess a sealskin pelt. And many of the old legends dictate about how Selkies are often kidnapped by men on land who seek to have them as brides, and as long as they keep their sealskins from them, they're kind of forced to stay on land and stay with their so-called husbands, quote unquote. And as much as I do love the original lore, it's definitely a bit tried and true. I've heard a lot of different versions of it. This one is totally new, and I was really excited about it. This is Rose Sutherland's A Sweet Sting of Salt, and it takes place in 19th century Nova Scotia. Now, first of all, it's Canadian, so I was extremely thrilled about that. Second, it's got Selkies, so I was almost like guaranteed to love it. And third, it is actually a queer retelling of the Selkie wife folklore. So essentially, for Pride Month for June, I'm going to be telling you about this one. Now, first of all, I was really curious to see how they were going to set the tale for the Selkie folklore, because when you first meet our main characters, Jean, who is the sole midwife in this little town in Nova Scotia called Barker's Bay, she is the only person that is trained and skilled enough to help deliver the children and the babies of her little village. And one night, when it is absolutely storming down by the coast of her little town, she finds a woman that looks extremely distraught and heavily pregnant. She doesn't recognize her, Jean, and of course does what anyone would do in such a situation, and she goes down to the water and helps the woman up into her little townhouse, fixes her up, helps her successfully deliver, and realizes the woman doesn't speak very well. Very broken English, only knows really how to speak her name, which she learns is Murin. And after successfully delivering the babe, Jean puts together that this must be the new wife of her neighbor Tobias, who is a gentleman that also lives in the village. They're a quiet couple, very secretive. They don't come out a lot, they do not interact with a lot of the townsfolk, but more specifically, his wife is very withdrawn. Basically only seen under the cover of a bonnet in town, doesn't speak to anyone. And when Tobias learns that his wife had given birth without him and left their home, he is initially very confused and very worried, and he is brought back to Jean's home by Jean, where the couple interact and the baby is healthy. And of course, Jean has her theories about things. She's got a lot of insider knowledge, let's say, of the people that live in her town. I mean, when you're handling people's loved ones so intimately, you kind of become a big part of their lives, even if she herself feels like she doesn't necessarily fit in with their town. And as she helps to tend to Tobias's wife, Murin, and their babe, as they get older, she starts to notice things about her, how Tobias, again, never lets her basically leave his sight, and especially never lets her go near the water. How she struggles with a lot of mundane aspects of life, and how he basically doesn't really want anyone to get to know her. And even though communication is difficult, which is also a big thing that I love about this book, Murin doesn't learn how to speak English very well, and it stays constant through the book. Even though it might make things a little bit difficult for the reader at first to interpret, it's similar to Jean, who has to put into the effort that you would need to understand where she's coming from. And even though there are definite boundaries and restrictions that they're trying to come across and to face, Jean slowly starts to fall in love with Murin, and she learns that yes, she is in fact a Selkie that Tobias kidnapped and is holding against her will here on the island as his wife, quote unquote, by keeping her pelt from her. So it then becomes essentially Jean's mission to not only get her pelt back and rescue Murrin, but to take care of her and her child. Because even if she does manage to get her pelt back and free her from Tobias, she still has a babe now. Their dynamic, Murrin and Jean, is incredibly sweet and a really refreshing take on the Selkie wife tale. Selkies, I find, aren't really used quite as much in modern fantasy. We got our usual vampires and werewolves and fairies and fae, but even though Selkies have such interesting powers, yeah, I really find that they're not used as much. And Selkie can be men and women, by the way. So it's really interesting to see that representation, and I love it. The actual novel itself is considered adult, but there is no subject matter that I would consider inappropriate for teens, and it does read at a reading level that I feel teens would also not struggle with and enjoy. The world building is beautiful. Being able to read about the stormy bluffs in the little town out of Nova Scotia, very homey, very atmospheric. If you like romance, which this is chock full of, if you like mystery, and if you like family bonding and just seeing how far people will go for the ones that they love, I cannot recommend this book enough. It is perfect for Pride Month. If you would like to find it, we have it here at the West Lincoln Public Library, or we will do our best to get it for you through link. That is all I have for you today. I will see you next month with another book review. Have a good month, everyone.